Hi guys, welcome back. Today we're going to do section 5.4, which is the last method that you need to learn on how to solve a system of equations. So we have another system, two equations here. First method we learned was graphing. Then we learned substitution yesterday, and now we're learning elimination. So elimination is our third and final method. It's actually my favorite, so I save it for last. But this one only works when when you have things lined up. So notice in this problem how our x's are lined up, our y's are lined up, our equal signs are even lined up, and the numbers at the end without a letter are lined up. When everything's lined up, it's a great time to use elimination. So what happens is something probably eliminates. Okay, so look here, 2x and negative 2x. Do you think those eliminate? Or do you think it's the y's? 3y and 5y. Which one do you think eliminates, the x's or the y's? The x's eliminate because 2x take away 2x, a positive 2 and a negative 2 eliminate. Okay, so we are going to do just that. We are going to eliminate them. Okay, eliminate meaning just cancel them. We're going to draw a line and we're going to add or subtract whatever it says. Okay, it says to add here. 3 plus 5. A positive 3 and a positive 5 make a positive 8y. Y goes with y and it stays a y. The equal signs come straight down, so everything's still lined up. And you're going to do 11, and since this is a positive 13, you're going to add 13. 11 plus 13 is 24. Now you're going to get y by itself, and you should know how to get y by itself. It's very easy. You're just going to divide both sides by 8. 24 divided by 8 is 3. Okay, so now that is just our y. Remember, our answer is always x comma y. X comma y. It's always where the two lines cross. So even back to when we were graphing, you'd have graph 1, graph 2, and where they crossed was the answer. So we have found y. So we are going to get rid of the y, and we're going to put in 3. Make sure you put it in the y spot. Even though you found it first, it goes second in the answer because y is second in our answer. Now you do need to find the other letter. You need to find x. So to do that, you're going to go back up to the top. Doesn't matter which equation you pick, and you're going to substitute that 3 where y is. So right there where y is. Okay, so 2x plus 3y equals 11. Let me change that so you can see. Okay, 2x plus 3y equals 11. I just rewrote the top equation, but when I said the y, I didn't put a y because I know that y is 3. So I put a blank, and I'm going to put a 3 right there where the blank was, where the y was. So 2x stays the same. 3 times 3. What's 3 times 3? That's 9, and it still equals 11. Now this should be a simple two-step problem that you should know how to do from part A of this class. So you're going to get rid of the 9 by subtracting. Since it's a positive, the opposite would be subtract. You still have 2x, bring that down. And what's 11 take away 9? 11 take away 9 is also 2. And the last step would be divide by 2. And again, this is all a review from part A. 2 divided by 2 is 1. So now you can come back here, erase your x, and you can replace it with the 1 because x is 1. So now this is where they cross. The lines cross at 1, 3. That's why I like elimination the best, is because it's just a blue step and a red step and you're done. Pretty simple. If you have any questions, let me know or go back and watch the video again. I'm going to pause it and bring up the next example in just a second. Okay, now we're on to example 2, which is very similar. You'll notice this is a good elimination problem. The x's line up, the y's line up, the equal signs line up, and the n numbers line up. So everything lines up. Look and see if you can find something that eliminates. Does 4x and 5x, does that eliminate? No. What about 3y and 3y? Well, it's really close, right? We have 3y and we have 3y, but what does one of them have to be to eliminate? Negative. Okay, so we need a positive 3y and a negative 3y. So how about I just put a negative there? Would that be good? I mean, it would make everything eliminate. Well, you can't just do that. You just can't put a negative anywhere you feel like it. If you put a negative here, you have to change all the symbols for all three numbers. So this positive 5 has to become a negative 5. The positive 3, you had to change into a negative 3. So let's change that on our paper. And the negative 2, what do you think is going to happen with a negative 2? You're going to change it to a positive 2. So when you want to, you can change one symbol, but if you change one symbol, you have to change all three symbols. Now we can do the elimination. So now the x's do not eliminate, but 3y and negative 3y do eliminate. So eliminate them because 3 take away 3 is 0. And now just add or subtract. Remember, though, we change it to a minus here, so we are going to subtract. 4 take away 5 is what you're doing here. You have $4, but you want to buy something that's $5. You're going to have to borrow $1. So you're negative 1. Those are gone. Bring down your equal sign, and now you have 2. Remember, you changed it to a plus. 2 plus 2 now is 4. If it was a minus there, you do 2 minus 2. Okay? So now we're still trying to get still trying to get x by itself. So we're going to divide by negative 1, and this is just simple, something you learned back in part A. 4 divided by negative 1 is just going to change it to a negative 4. Remember, your answer is always x comma y. So it's x comma y. So don't forget to fully answer the problem. Okay, so you're going to come over here. We know what x is, so we're going to get rid of the x, and we're going to put in the negative 4 that we found. But we still have to find y. We can't just stop here. So what you're going to do is go back to either equation. It doesn't matter. The original top equation, the original second equation, or you can actually use the new equation where you've changed all the symbols. It does not matter which one you use. Pick one and substitute in for negative 4 where you see an x. So anywhere you see an x, you're going to replace it with a negative 4. So I'm going to go back and use the first equation. I'm going to bring it down here so I've got more room. 4x, well, I said anywhere I see an x, I'm going to replace it. So I'm going to leave a blank. Plus 3y equals 2. All I did was take the first equation and I rewrote the first equation where I had more room. But I know what x is already. I know x is equal to negative 4. So I'm going to replace that x with a blank. And I'm going to put that negative 4 in there. Because now I only have a y in my problem. It makes it easier and I can figure out what my y is. So I'll push it down so you can see a little bit better. I'm going to try to figure out what my y is. So I'm going to do 4 times negative 4, which is negative 16, plus 3y equals 2. I didn't change any of that. I'm just writing it straight down. Now get rid of that negative 16 because we're trying to get y by itself. How do you get rid of a minus 16? The opposite is a plus 16. We get 3y equals, now you're going to go over here, 2 plus 16. So 2 plus 16 is 18. Switch it down a little bit more. Divide both sides by 3. 18 divided by 3 is 6. So our answer is not 6, but part of our answer is 6. So y, let me go back up. I'm going to get rid of the y here and replace it with the 6 I just found. This is my answer. I need both the x and down here the y. Okay, I need both parts for my answer. Okay, make sure you do not just stop after the blue step here, that you do go ahead and get the other part. Now, if it is a multiple choice question, you are lucky because if it's multiple choice, you know that x equals negative 4. You might not have to do the second problem. If you find negative 4 and only one of your multiple choice answers has a negative 4 here, you know it's got to be the right one. Okay, so if all the other answers don't start out with negative 4, you can pretty much check that it's going to be that one. But then always do the second part just to double check that you have the right second part of your answer. Once you have both parts right, you know for sure it kind of double checks itself and you know you definitely have the right answer. Okay, So that was example 2. Let's do another one where everything's not lined up, because sometimes it's nice to use elimination, but you can only use elimination when everything's lined up. So I'm going to show you example 3 where stuff's not lined up so that you can still use elimination even when stuff's not lined up. And then after that, you'll pretty much be good for knowing how to do most of the elimination problems. Okay, so for example 3, you'll notice that it's not a very good elimination problem because nothing lines up, okay? And there's really nothing to eliminate at this point. However, if you really like elimination and you really want to do an elimination problem, you can do an elimination problem. It's just going to be a little more involved, okay? This might be better to use substitution since you almost already have y by itself. If you could just get rid of that 4, by dividing everything by 4, you could do a substitution problem as well. But since we're doing section 5.4 today, which is all about elimination, I'll show you how to make the elimination work, even though it's not ready for elimination. So I need it to be x, y equals a number. That's called standard form. You learned that in part A of the class as well. So we need to be x, y equals a number. X, y equals a number. X, y equals a number. No, that's not the right order. We need this x to come out over here. Now, if it's a positive x here, what's going to happen when I try to move it is instead of being a plus x, I'm going to subtract x. And what's going to happen is it's going to eliminate over here. It's going to become a negative 3x over here. Now, that's still a positive 4y, so we can put a plus 4y. So all I did was take the positive 3x, move it to the front, and make it a negative 3x. And now I have x, y equals a number. And now everything should line up. So I'm going to rewrite it, negative 3x plus 4y equals 14. Okay, and I'm going to rewrite it. Where's my eraser? I'm going to rewrite this. So remember, negative 3x plus 4y equals 14. Negative 3x plus 4y equals 14. So I'm going to rewrite it without all the blue scribbles, so now it's a little easier to deal with. Now, does everything line up? Yeah, x's line up, y's line up, equal signs line up, numbers by themselves line up. So just by moving one thing out of the way and putting it up to the front where it belonged, everything kind of magically falls into place, and now you can do a problem just like before. Okay, so if you already know how to solve this, go ahead and pause the video right now. Try it on your own. Try to solve the remaining problem and see if you can get the right answer. Come back and double check it with me. If you're still a little lost, keep watching the video and I'll show you step by step how to solve this. So, do the x's line up? Yes, they line up, but do they eliminate? No. What about the y's? Negative 4y and positive 4y. Do those eliminate? Yeah, a negative and a positive eliminate. So eliminate the y's and just deal with the x's now. It makes your problem a lot easier. 8x minus 3x is 5x equals negative 14, and that's a plus, or sorry, negative 4, and that's a plus 14 or a positive 14. So you borrow $4, but you have $14 in your wallet. Well, you can pay back the $4 you owe me, and you'll still have $10 left in your wallet. And now it's super simple. Divide both sides by 5, and x is 2. So you can still do an elimination problem. You just had to move stuff around and kind of rearrange your terms. So now your x is 2. Come over here, and remember your answer is always x first, and then we're going to find the y. Okay, so to find the y, I'm going to go back up to the top equation or the second equation. It really doesn't matter. And you're going to plug in where you see the x. You're going to plug in a 2 right there. Okay, so I'm going to rewrite the second equation. I'll turn it so you can see better. Just rewriting this. 8x minus 4y equals negative 4. Okay, I just rewrote the top equation, but because I know what x is, I got rid of x and I put a blank. What's going to go in that blank is the 2. Okay, so you're going to put a 2 in right there. And then just figure out what this is. Super simple. 8 times 2 is 16. minus 4y equals negative 4. I'm just keeping that the same. Now you're going to solve this for y. So how do you get rid of a positive 16? You subtract 16, and this is just simple algebra, basic algebra that you learned a long time ago. You borrow 4 and you borrow 16. They're both negative, so you're borrowing money and you're borrowing money again. Well, you're going to owe me 20. You're going to owe me even more if you borrow money twice. Divide both sides by negative 4. Two negatives make a positive 5. So now you can come over here, and the other part of your answer is y equals 5. So now you know that they cross at 2, 5. Okay? So you could have graphed it, you could have used substitution, or you could use elimination. No matter what method, you're going to get back to the same answer of 2, 5. So even when you're doing the test, and you might choose a different method than I recommend, you're still going to get the right answer. On the test, it'll say use elimination or use graphing or use substitution. It'll give you a hint on which one I'd like you to use, but you can definitely use whichever one you want. I don't care how you get to the right answer. I just care that you get to the right answer. So now that you know all three, you should be able to use all three of them to help you on the test that's coming up next week. Let's do one more when nothing eliminates and see kind of what happens when that happens, because that does occur. And then we'll be done for today. Okay, last example, example 4. Go ahead and pause this video, copy this down. And if you think you know what you're doing, go ahead and try. But if you'll notice, nothing eliminates. So this one's a little tricky. So 6x and 2x, they're lined up, but they don't eliminate. 5y and 3y, everything's lined up, but it doesn't eliminate. And the equal signs are lined up, but you're noticing nothing eliminates. So if I had a 6x here, what do I really need to be down here for it to eliminate? The opposite of 6x would be a negative 6x. So what can I multiply 2 by to make it a 6? 2 times what is 6? Well, if you do 2 times 3, you're going to get 6. So I'm going to multiply everything by 3. But I don't want it just to be a positive 3 because I want to get a negative 6. I want a positive 6 and a negative 6 down here. So I'm going to multiply everything by negative 3. Okay? And to do that, I'm just trying to figure out what number I can multiply the bottom number by to get it to eliminate with the positive 6. So what's going to happen is you're going to rewrite your problem. Okay? So let's do the whole thing and rewrite it. So the top one is going to be 6x plus 5y equals 19. That one didn't change. And we're going to rewrite the next one. Negative 3 times 2 is negative 6. The whole point of this is to get something to eliminate, which we did. But we also have to do negative 3 times 3, which is negative 9. And we also have to do negative 3 times 5, which is negative 15. Make sure you multiply everything by the negative 3. You can't just multiply one number by negative 3. If you're going to do it, you got to do the whole way through. So now you should be able to do elimination. So at this point, you should look here and see what eliminates. You'll notice that the 6x and the negative 6x eliminate. Okay? And so now if you want, you can pause the pause the video and try to do the remainder of the problem on your own and then come back and check it with me. If you're still lost and you still need another example, go ahead and follow the steps with me, but it's the same steps as the very first 3 examples. So these eliminate. We're going to do 5 take away 9. We have $5 in our wallet, but we're trying to buy something that's $9, which means we're going to have to borrow $4. 19 take away 15. We have $19. We're trying to buy something that's $15. We have enough, but we're only going to be left with $4 in our wallet when we're done. Divide both sides by negative 4. And super easy, you just get negative 1. So now, remember your answer is x comma y. Okay, so you're going to put the y in here. Even though you found the y first, it always goes in the second spot, negative 1. And then you'd go back and figure out what your x is. Okay, to find your x, you're just going to replace the y with negative 1. And you can go back to the first equation, the second equation, or the new second equation. It really doesn't matter. You're going to get the same answer for all of them. Okay, so I always just go to the top equation because I think it's just what my brain goes to first. Okay, So let me scooch it over so you can see it a little bit better. We're going to do 6x plus 5y equals 19. And you'll notice I left the blank where the y was, right here, because y is -1. So I'm going to replace the y with a -1. And now I can figure out what my x is because I only have an x in my problem now. So I've got 6x. 5 times -1 is just -5 equals 19. I didn't change that. Get rid of the -5 by adding 5 is the opposite. 6x equals 19 plus 15, 19 plus 5 is 24. And the last step, divide by 6. These go away. 24 divided by 6 is 4. So now we found x equals 4. So now we can come over here and we can get rid of our x and put in a 4. And this is where the two lines cross. So again, doesn't matter what method you used. If you would have graphed them, they would have crossed at that line. If you would have used substitution, you would have still got that point as an answer. Okay? Now, that should give you pretty much enough to get through this section. You might find some that get a little tougher at the end of the section. If you have any questions, let me know. But that's pretty much all of elimination in section 5.4. So I think you're ready at this point to go on to the worksheet for section 5.4. Let me know if you have questions, and I'll see you tomorrow for our last section, which is 5.5, and then we're done with chapter 5 already. Next week, we'll be working on reviewing for the test, taking your test, and then we'll probably be starting our new chapter next week as well. I might push that back to the following week. We'll just kind of see how it goes. But yeah, I'm excited to be almost done with the first chapter already.